Welcome to the Femalepreneur Coach podcast. I am your host, Rebecca Barr. I am a transformational mindset and business coach and six-figure award-winning female entrepreneur. Ladies, I'm here to tell you that business and making money doesn't have to be hard when you're in alignment and flow. Inside this podcast, I will be showing you how to transform your mindset to program it for success, how to maximize your money vibrations, and how to redesign your business for ultimate financial and time freedom. You know you are meant to live an epic life. Now it's time to claim it. Hi ladies, welcome to another episode of the Femalepreneur Coach podcast. I'm super excited to speak to you today. First of all, full disclaimer, there is a fan in the background. We're going through a bit of a heat wave here in the UK and I am absolutely about to melt. So I've tried turning it off and I've tried doing other things, but it is just horrendous. This heat is crazy. So hopefully it won't be too distracting. I've checked the sound quality, it's not too bad. So yeah, bear with me. But I definitely don't want to be passing out halfway through recording. So thank you so much for being here. As always, I'm so excited for the ladies that listen to my podcast. I feel like this is a really intimate container because I can really share in a little bit more depth, like some of the things that I just feel really passionately about and things that I'm seeing in the online space in a really safe way that allows me to expand and clarify. And I'm just super grateful. So thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you. So today what I wanted to speak about was the money mindset work and the journey that you need to go on to really transform your relationship and heal those childhood wounds as it relates to money. And there's a lot of misconceptions around what this kind of work really entails. A lot of people think, I've just got to have a goal that I'm visualizing on. I've just got to be super high vibe and positive. I need to do some affirmations and I'm all good. But the reality is, if you are not ugly cry facing by the end of the deep dive work that you need to do into your money mindset, then you're not doing it right. And that is the reality. It is really a deep, painful journey at times. And you have to commit to doing that work. This isn't about just being super curious and, interested in up-leveling your money mindset. If you are not happy right now with the amount of zeros in your bank, you have to go all in. You have to commit to doing that work, because what will happen is a lot of the beliefs that we have around money will be seated in trauma as it relates to us. So trauma sounds like it needs to be really dark and huge traumatic events. And for a lot of women, when I start working on their money mindset, they're like, well, I don't have any trauma. But actually, the trauma will have occurred during your early formative years, so between the ages of 0 and 7. So even at that age, just a loud noise can be traumatic to your body and to your nervous system at that time. I'm so conscious that I've got a baby now who's 12 months. And even if the other kids are arguing and energetically, she's in the room and she can be aware of that. So I'm super, try to be quite protective of her energy, of her vibrations, of her mindset and her nervous system and what she's being exposed to. But then equally, I have to balance that out with the fact that she's the youngest of 5. And she actually has 3 other siblings on her dad's side. So she's actually the youngest of 8 children. So I am kind of also mindful that, I don't know how much actually I can control here and protect her from, but I can certainly try. So that's what I try to do, because I recognize that even if it doesn't seem as an adult that big a trauma, when you were a child and the incident occurred, it will have been a trauma to you, and your body would have stored that memory in your body energetically as a trauma. So we have to kind of recognize and acknowledge that. And when we actually say it's okay if your only trauma is that your mum maybe shouted at you once when you tried to buy something, that's still a valid trauma, and we still need to process that emotion and go through it. So that's kind of the misconception really. A lot of the times when it comes to money traumas, people feel like, well, unless I was destitute on the street and couldn't feed my kids, I don't have any money blocks. But you do. You absolutely do. So what I kind of wanted to do with this episode is really explain why it's so important to go there with your money mindset and with those stories, and then equally what you can do to heal it. So bear with me. This is going to be a juicy one, but I'm going to try and keep it quite succinct because I want it to be super actionable and I want you to go away and do the work yourself. So this is me kind of setting it up, framing it, and then I want you to go away and do the results, do the work, yeah. And then come away and let me know what the results were. Sorry, that's where I was going with that sentence. So just to kind of frame it, So basically, between the ages of 0 to 7, and apologies if I'm repeating myself, if you listen to other episodes, because I do like to really unpack and explain the psychology behind why we do what we do. And it's something that has fascinated me my whole life. Human behavior is generally like a morbid curiosity for me. I love to know why people do what they do. And so for me, like I also like to get into the detail, and I assume if you're here and you're listening, then you obviously are perhaps that way inclined as well, where you need to know why. But why do we do that? But why does that happen? But why is it that way? So basically, between the ages of 0 to 7, your brain is like a walking sponge. If you think about it logically, as soon as a baby's born into this world, its first and only primary goal is about learning how to adapt to its environment so that it can survive. And our brain always wants to keep us safe. It's not interested in if we're happy, if we fulfilled our higher purpose, if we are living our best life and YOLOing it up. It couldn't care to couldn't give two shits basically. But what it does want to do is ensure our survival and keep us safe. So that's why we get so much resistance around new activities and beliefs and goals that stretch us, because it's, even if patterns aren't healthy, even toxic patterns of behavior will still be more comfortable to our unconscious brain than breaking those cycles, because it's familiar. And we have to be aware of that and give ourselves grace, that when we're like, oh my God, why can't I just do this thing? Why can't I get this right? Why is it always me? Don't be so hard on yourself. It is just your brain doing exactly what it's intended to do. So when a baby comes into the world, it is all about keeping it safe, learning its environment, adapting to its caregiver's behaviours, but also quickly assimilating and filing and digesting and recording everything around it. So all of the information that it's being exposed to, it's like, right, okay, we need to apply a literal meaning to that situation. Amazing, got it, file it. Right, okay, what next? So if we, during those ages, and that's basically because we don't have also any critical faculty function, so no emotional maturity to process the information that we've got, we literally apply it to its most literal meaning. So if we see our parents arguing over money, we apply the belief that, okay, well, obviously money leads to arguments and, root of all evil, and making money is hard, and that means sacrifice. And that's kind of just how it is. And that's what we accept from a young age, that is how it is. We apply that literal meaning to that situation, and that now becomes one of our core beliefs that then guides us on everything we do beyond that point. So obviously we don't have the critical faculty function to apply any emotional maturity to that situation. That's why, children believe in Easter bunnies and all of those sorts of things without thinking, actually, hang on a sec, how does that work? They are accepting of everything that we tell them. So if you go back to your earliest core memory around money, at a time that maybe you felt ick, you felt yuck, you saw your parents arguing, or something that you remember as a trauma or as a negative consequence of having money, that would be a really great starting point for you to start doing that deep dive work into healing it. Because what will have happened is that obviously you applied that literal meaning, you formed that belief, that now shapes and guides everything that you do going forwards. So if you decided and you formed the belief that making money was going to be hard, guess what? You're going to start to feel guilty if you actually get to a point where making money is easy. And I see this a lot with my clients. So sometimes they will make things unintentionally hard, almost to justify their prices and the work that they bring to the table, particularly in this online space where there's no kind of tangible overheads or cost to our business necessarily. Unless you invest in a team and marketing and those sorts of things, you can actually run a business online with little to no costs. So it can sometimes feel really awkward and uncomfortable if actually what you witnessed as a child and what one of your core beliefs was founded on was the fact that your parents argued over money, or maybe your dad was working long hours, or perhaps your parents couldn't ever seemingly catch a break, and therefore everybody else was entitled to success and had a lucky handout, and you and your family were always meant to have it the hard way. So I'd love for you to reflect on that first of all. What is your core memory as it relates to money? And then literally go through the process of returning to that memory. This is inner child work 101. So I would love you to take a moment to really lean in this task and actually do that inner child healing 101 work, which is essentially to return to that core memory, create a space, that's really beautiful. Allow yourself like time to lean into it and revisit that memory in your mind's eye, where perhaps, you witnessed your parents arguing, and then go into your body, really feel what you were feeling at that time and what meanings you were applying to that situation. It could have even been that it was about you, or that you weren't good enough, or perhaps if you were a good girl, like your parents wouldn't be arguing. Anything along those lines like will be valuable. So really lean into what comes up for you. Don't question it, because it's, that whatever comes up intuitively, like instantly, that is actually, that's your inner subconscious mind speaking. So really lean into that. Then what I want you to do is to disassociate yourself from that memory, i.e. step out of your body and now become the observer of that situation. So rather than viewing it through the eyes of a child as you were at that time, viewing it now as you are today, so as you are an adult. And then essentially I want you to speak to that child, explain to them that situation wasn't anything to do with them. Tell them whatever they need to hear in order to feel better. So you are now essentially parenting your inner child and almost finishing off that memory with something that is more positive and more empowering. So it could be, yes, your parents are arguing, but it's nothing to do with you. They didn't have any money. They were doing the best with what they could at the time. But you are now committed to changing and rewriting your family story as it relates to money, so that you are the person that actually now is going to go out and create that six-figure empire. Your children are never going to know, arguing about money. They're never going to have to go through the sacrifices that you did potentially. Or perhaps you had lots of money and it was just like your parents put money before anything else. Like whatever relates to you, that's what you really need to lean into. So don't let me guide you in that sense. It could be something else, but really speak to that child with love, with compassion, as if they were your own child. Because I always think that we speak to each other, speak to ourselves so much harder than we would speak to another child or even another person. So really, give that child lots of love and really reframe that situation in a really positive way. That definitely is part of the deep dive work that you have to start with. So it's all about acknowledging your pain at the time. So this isn't gaslighting yourself and be like, oh, you're fine, it wasn't anything, It's about sharing, giving yourself compassion, love, and then ultimately like healing and finishing off that memory so that you can move forwards without it having that emotional charge over you going forwards. Then it's about forgiveness. So this is where you can energetically, again, just like visualize that memory as something that has been attached to you energetically as if by a cord. And then you can just mentally visualize that cord dissolving, like a beautiful white light coming down through your crown chakra, through your head, and then out through that cord that has been keeping you attached to that memory and that core belief, and just literally witness it dissolving and disappearing as the light brightens around that cord until it is nothing, until it is no more, until it has no further emotional charge or attachment to you. That's really powerful. And then I always like to, every week or every month, I journal on what's come up for me lately. So it could be even something more recent, but generally like having forgiveness for yourself and for your parents will take you so far in life, because not forgiving others is like, as you may have seen before, but it's like taking poison yourself and expecting the other person to die. Like you have to be able to forgive others. You're not condoning their behavior, you're not accepting it, but you're essentially taking your power back from that memory in that moment, so that that person no longer has that emotional charge over you, and you are saying that I deserve to be happy more than I want to be right anymore, more than I want to feel like you owe me something, an apology, whatever. You've got to take that back for yourself and just say, no, you are so irrelevant to me now, you cannot even affect me even on an energetic level. And then it's about reprogramming. So this is where we have essentially closed off that memory. We've taken out and diffused the emotional charge towards it. We've symbolically, energetically, spiritually forgiven that situation so we can move on peacefully from it. And then it's about, right, okay, now we've cleared space. How do we fill up our mindset with really positive empowering beliefs, and how do we start to reprogram it for success? And this is where daily repetition comes in. If it's taken you 20, 30, 40 years to get to this point with one program running on your mind, that money making is hard, that you aren't worthy or deserving of success, guess what? It's going to take a little bit of time to actually flip the script on that and change the program, transition to something that's more empowering. So this is where affirmations can be really powerful, but you have to really lean into the emotion of it, because ultimately, when you're wanting to up level, your money and get to that next level of income, it's not about the money. It is about what feelings you are going to feel when you have the money. So whether it's freedom, empowered, proud, it could be anything really. I'm trying to think what else, but for me it was always freedom and just being able to live life on my own terms. That's the feeling that I was chasing. It wasn't a number on a bank account, because money is just money. But so you have to decide, what is that feeling? And when you're then reciting your affirmations, you really need to get into that emotional state of feeling that feeling. I've got so many resources on this. So anchors, cutting cords, like all of these things. Go and have a look on my Instagram or on my YouTube. There's loads of things in there that will help you with some of this work as well. But just as like a real basic, like if you only do these things, daily affirmations, daily repetition, reading money mindset books, speaking positively about money, surrounding yourselves with people that speak positively. It's why I've created the society, the Fempreneur Society. My membership is because with everything that I do, I always have containers where women can learn from women, where women can see what is possible for them too, where they can support each other, where they can actively help each other to grow their businesses. Obviously, if that's something you're interested in, come and join us over there, because I know the power of who you surround yourself with. And, on a personal note, I've had toxic relationships where my partner is like my biggest hater and constantly telling me that I'm no good, I'm rubbish, I'm this, I'm that. And let me tell you, that affects you on just every level of your being, when the people that you're with every day are constantly like telling you that you're rubbish. And I know that I attract women that have been in the same position or are in the same position right now. So anything that you can do to tip the balance, to be around instead people that are the ones that are lifting you up and inspiring you and motivating you and supporting you, the better, because you can see how much one toxic person in your life can affect your self-esteem versus a whole cheerleading squad of women that are lifting you up. Like, it is an absolute game changer. So those are the kind of things that I would love for you to do. And this is why I say, if you are not ugly cry facing by the end of it, and you're really not getting like to your very core and really, doing that deep dive mindset work, you're not doing it right. You have to deal with like the cause, not the symptoms. So hopefully that gives you some idea as to how to do that initial Inner Child 101 work, how to spot those behaviors and how to then reprogram them for success. I've also got a signature wealth activation system that's completely free. If you go to my LinkedIn, or even I'll put it in the show notes, you can download it today. And it's a 3 times a day signature method to raise your vibration so that you become a vibrational match to more wealth, but also so that you can reprogram your mindset for success and start to basically overwrite some of these old self-sabotaging behaviors. It's entirely free. It's worth like hundreds. And it's something that I use with all of my one-to-one, like high-level clients, because it doesn't matter what level of income you're at, whether you have no money or all the money right now, there will still be with every new level of success requires a new level of self-belief, and there will be a new money devil waiting to be overcome. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I wanted to kind of keep it super brief. If you have any follow-up questions, come find me on Instagram, and obviously please, as always, leave a review so that more incredible women like you can find me. Have a fantastic day. Thank you for listening to this episode. It's been amazing to share this time with you, and I feel honoured to be part of your journey. If you've loved what you've heard, had an aha moment, or found value in this episode, then please do like, comment and share. I would love to connect with you on Instagram and Facebook, so come and find me, and I look forward to helping you build your epic life.